So this is how the workflow looks like. So let us see how it works. So we'll come to Telegram. This is our Telegram. So now we'll be uploading an image of what we'll be eating. Okay. So for example, so I've got this image here. I'll just take a screenshot of this image. I'll come to Telegram. I'll just paste this picture here. Okay. So now let me upload it here and let us wait for a response. And yes, we can see we have got a response. It says pav bhaji, calories, nutrition score. We can see the protein, carbs, fat and fiber. Okay, and we can also see the verdict: a flavorful and satisfying meal. Plus it says make it better, add more vegetables to increase fiber content. Okay, so now let us try one more image. So this time I'll take a picture of this image. I'll come here again, I'll paste the photo here, I'll click on send. And now let us wait for a response. And yes, we can see we have got a response here. It says chole bhature, the calories intake, the nutrition score. We can also see the verdict. We can also see how to make it better. And now we can also see all this data has been recorded in a Google Sheet. Okay, we can see the meal, we can see the time, date, calories, protein, carbs, fat and type. Okay, so now let us try a text message. Okay, so let me type here, I ate 2 eggs and 1 samosa. Okay, I'll click on enter. Yes, we got it. It says 2 eggs and 1 samosa, calories, nutrition score. We can also see the verdict and we can also see how to make it better. So now let us check our sheet. We can also see the data is fed into this Google Sheet, including the calories, protein, carbs, fat and type. Okay, this time it was text. And now if we want to see the overall summary for the entire day, okay, so just type summary and click on enter, and we can see the summary for the whole day. We can see the date, we can see meals logged, it is 3. We can see the breakdown, it was pav bhaji, chole bhature, 2 eggs and 1 samosa. And then we can see the protein intake, carbs and fat. We can also see here you are on track, room for 580 kilocalorie meal. Okay, so why we see this? Because we have set our daily target to be 2000 calories maximum. So if it hits 2000 calorie, it will tell me if it is over that or if I require more. So this is how this automation works. So now let us understand what happens in the backend. Okay, so let us understand in simple. So this is a basic flowchart that we have. So as soon as a user sends a message, okay, so it will first judge if it is a photo or if it is a text. So for example, let's say if it is a photo, then it will come to Telegram node and it will get the photo. After getting the photo, it will send that photo in an OpenAI node. Okay, so here it will analyze the picture. So after analyzing the photo, it will come to a code node here. Okay, so why? Because we need all this data in a proper format so that we can feed it into a Google Sheet and we can send a reply to the person who has messaged. Okay, so for this reason we are using a code node here, and then it will feed all the data into a Google Sheet, and after that it will give a reply to the user. Okay, so this is what happens if it is a photo. But if it is not a photo, for example, if it is a normal text, then it will analyze the text. Okay, it will come through this node, it will analyze the text, and then again it will go to a code node here so that it can format the data. So after we format the data, we will feed it into a Google Sheet and then we will send a reply to the user. So on the left we can see if this is a photo, this is the process that we will follow, and on the right hand side we can see if it is a text, this is the process that we will be following. So in the end, if we need the whole summary of the entire day, then we will follow this path. Okay, so here it will first get all the information that we have in our Google Sheet, and then it will do calculation. So it will calculate the total number of protein, total calories that we have taken for that particular day, and then finally it will give us the reply. So this is how it works, and now we'll be building everything from scratch. Okay, so this is our workflow. We'll delete everything here. Let me delete. So now we'll be building this entire workflow from scratch. Okay, so first we'll be adding a Telegram node here. Search for Telegram, select this, and here we'll select on message. So now we'll be building a fresh new Telegram bot. Okay, for this we'll come to Telegram here, search for bot father. Okay, so this is the search bar, just search for bot father. Once you search this, this is what you will get. Just click here, and now I'll search / new bot. Okay, select this, click on enter, and now it is asking for a name. Okay, choose a name for your bot. So let me type health ninja. Okay, I'll click on enter, and now it says we must choose a username for our bot and it must end in bot. Okay, so now let me type health 1887 bot. We'll click on enter. And now we can see we have got our access token. We'll just copy this from here. Control C, we'll come here and now we'll select this. We'll click create new credential. Okay. So now I'll paste the access token here and now I'll click on save. Okay, so now you can see credential successfully created inside your personal space, and now it is testing and it says connection tested successfully. Now we'll close this. So now I'll click here execute step. I'll come here again and now we can see our bot link. This is our bot link. Click here and then click on start. Okay, so now we'll come here again and now we can see we have got the message here, and now I'll click on back to canvas. Okay, so now this part is done. So if you come to the workflow, so now we have got this message. The next step is that we'll be adding a router here. Okay, so that it can judge if it is a photo or if it is a text message. For this we'll be adding a switch node here. So we'll come here, select this and now search for switch. Okay, so we'll select this and now we have to set certain routing rules here. Okay, so now we'll be pasting a code for photo. For this we'll come to our Google Sheet. We'll just copy this and we'll come here and we'll paste it here. Okay, so now this is the code for photo. So now we have pasted this and now it says is equal to, we'll select this and here we'll select array, and here on the right hand side we'll click is not empty. Okay, so the image should not be empty. This is the condition, this is the rule that we have selected. Now we'll select rename output. So let us name it photo. Okay, so now this is done. Now we'll be adding another routing rule. Okay, so first we can see this is photo, next one we can see it is for summary. Okay, so now we'll come here. So now we'll be mentioning the code for the text message. Okay, so we'll come to the Google Sheet here. We'll just copy this. We'll come here again, we'll paste it here. Okay, so this value should be equal to summary. Okay, so now we'll come here, we'll type / summary. Okay, and remember this should be string and is equal to. So now we have done it for photo, we have done it for summary. Now we'll be doing it for test. Okay, so we'll come here, we'll scroll down below, we'll select add option. So here we'll select fallback output, and now from here we'll select extra output. We can see items will be sent to the extra separate output. Okay, so if it is image, it will go in the first branch. If it is summary, it will go in the second branch, and if it is anything other than summary and image, it will come through the third branch. Okay, so now this part is done. I'll click on back to canvas. Okay, so now I'll click on save here. So now this part is done. Let us come to the workflow again. So here we'll be configuring this part first. Okay, so now we'll be uploading a sample photo and we'll follow the steps from here. Okay, so we'll come here now. So we'll open this and we'll click on execute step. So we already have this picture here. We'll take a screenshot of this. We'll capture here. We'll come to Telegram. We'll just upload it here. Okay, we'll click on send, and then we can see we have got this output. Now we'll click on back to canvas. Okay, so we know that we have got an image here. So for this we'll just execute it. We can see that this time it will flow from this branch. Okay, because it is photo this time. So I'll click on execute here, and here we can see one item. We have got this, we have got the photo here. So now if you come here, we can see once we get this photo, we'll have to add a Telegram node to get the photo. So we'll come here, we'll add a Telegram node here. We'll select Telegram, and now we'll select get a file. Okay, so here we have already connected this. Resource will be file, operation will be get, and here it is file ID. So for file ID, we have to open this expression. We'll have to make it big. So now we'll be pasting a code here. So we'll come to this Google Sheet here. We'll just copy this, and now we'll come here and I'll paste it here. Okay, now we'll click on back to canvas, and now I'll click on execute step. Okay, so we can see we have got this image. If I click on view, this is the image that we have got. Okay, so we have got it. Now click on back to canvas. Okay, so this part is done. Now if you come here, we can see after this we'll be sending this photo to OpenAI model so that it analyzes the picture. For this we'll come here again. Now we'll search for OpenAI. Okay, and here we'll select analyze image. Okay, so now we can see our OpenAI account is connected. If you have not connected, you can do it. If you face any problem, you can let me know. Okay, so now resource will be image, operation will be analyze image, here model. So the model will select GPT-4o, and now for the input we'll open this, we'll make it big, we'll delete this, and now I have already made an input. I'll just copy paste it from this Google Sheet. So I'll come here, and this is the prompt. I'll just copy this, I'll come here, I'll paste it here. Okay, so you can see you are a friendly AI nutritionist. Analyze this food image, respond in this exact JSON format, no other text. Okay, meal, calories, protein, carbs, fat, fiber, verdict, tip. Okay, so be accurate with your estimates, return only valid JSON. So this is the input that we have to give. Now I'll close this. Okay, so I'll come below, we can see input type, this is image URL. I'll change this, I'll click on binary files. Okay, so binary file is this one. Okay, so here we can see input data field name, it is data. Now we'll click on execute step, and yes, we can see we have got the data here. The OpenAI image analyzer has analyzed our image, but now we have a problem. The data is not structured in a proper way. Okay, so for this we can see here, so this part is done. Now we'll be adding a code node so that we can format the response in a proper format. Okay, so for this we'll come here again, I'll click on back to canvas. So here we'll be adding a code node here. I'll select this, I'll search for code, and now I'll select code in JavaScript, and now I'll get this. I'll just delete this option, and I have already made a code using ChatGPT. I'll just paste this code from here. I'll just copy this first. Okay, I've copied this. I'll come here, I'll paste it here. Okay, so I have pasted my code, and now I'll click on execute step. Okay, so now we can see we have got the data here. We have got it pav bhaji, calories, protein, carbs, fat, and we have got the message as well. Okay, so now if you see this, we will feed this information now to Google Sheet. This code part is done. Now we'll be feeding all this information in our Google Sheet. So I've already made a Google Sheet. This is the Google Sheet, so I'll just delete this information. Okay, so now we'll be connecting our Google Sheet. For this, I'll come here, I'll click on back to canvas, and now I'll select this, I'll search for Google Sheets, I'll select this, and now I'll search append row in a sheet, this one. I'll select this, append row in a sheet, and now we can see our Google Sheet account is already connected. So if you have not connected, you should do this. If you face any issue, please let me know. Okay, so now resource will be sheet within document, operation will be append row, document, I have to choose my document from here. I'll select this AI nutritionist, and now I'll select the sheet. This is my sheet. Okay, so now I'll be mapping all the values from left hand side. So date, we'll just drag and drop it here. The time, we'll drag and drop it here. We'll do the same thing for user ID. For meal, it is pav bhaji, and now for calories, it is 400. We'll drag this here. Protein, carbs, fat, and now type will be photo. Okay, so now this part is done. I'll click on execute step. Now you can see this is empty. As soon as I hit execute, you can see the data here. Okay, so now I'll click execute step. Let us wait, and yes, we can see we have got the date, we have got the time, user ID, meal name, calories, protein, carbs, fat, and type. Okay, so now this part is done. So now if you see this workflow, we have fed all this information in the Google Sheet. Now we'll be sending a reply in our Telegram. For this, I'll come here, I'll search for Telegram, I'll select this, and now I'll select send a text message. Okay, so now we can see the credential is added, resource message, operation send message, now chat ID. So this is our chat ID. Now in text, we have to select this one. This is the message. So now we'll drag and drop it here. This is our text, and now here reply markup, we can select it none, and here we can add a field here. So we'll select this parse mode, and here we'll select this option markdown legacy. Okay, so now this part is done. Now I'll click on execute step, and then we'll see a response in our Telegram. Okay, so let me click here. We have got the response. We'll open this, and now we can see it's pav bhaji, calories, nutrition, verdict, and we can see how to make it better. Okay, so now this part is done. Now I'll click on back to canvas. Okay, I'll click on save here. So now the image part is done. So whenever we upload any image, it can get a reply. Okay, so this is what we have done. Now if you come to the workflow, so this is the workflow. So now this part is done. Now we'll be doing it for text. So now let's say if I type I ate 2 eggs or I ate a Maggie, so in that case we'll be following this path now. Okay, so first we'll be adding GPT-4o model or any model to analyze the text. Okay, for this we'll come here again, we'll open this, and now we'll click on execute step. We'll come here, I'll type I ate 2 eggs. Okay, now we'll come here, and now we have got the data I ate 2 eggs. Now I'll click on back to canvas. Okay, now we'll execute the switch node here, and this time you will see it will come through this branch, because for photo it will go through this branch, and if it is summary it will come through this branch, and this time since it is text it will come through this branch. I'll click on execute step, and now we can see we have got one item here. Okay, so now if you come here, we can see after this router we have to add this OpenAI node. Okay, so I'll come here, I'll search for OpenAI, and here I'll select message a model. Okay, so here we have already connected our OpenAI account. Resource will be text, operation will be message a model, and now we have to choose our model. You can select any model. For my use case, let me select GPT 4.1 mini. Okay, so now type will be text, role will be user, and now I have to put a user prompt. So I'll come here in my Google Doc, I'll just copy this prompt from here. Okay, I've just copied this, I'll come here, I'll paste it here. Okay, so here we can see you are a friendly AI nutritionist. The user sent this message. Okay, so this was the message that the user has sent. So I ate 2 eggs. You can simply drag and drop this here if you want. So this is the same thing. Now it says if the user mentions eating food like I ate, I had, just had, respond with only this JSON. Type, meal, calories, protein, carbs, fat, and all. If it's a general question, respond with this question and response, and then we can see written only valid JSON, be accurate with estimates. Okay, so now I'll just close this. We'll click on execute step. Okay, so after clicking here, we can see we have got this data here. Okay, but this data is not structured in a proper way. For this we can see we have added a code node here. Okay, so we'll come here, we'll be adding a code node. So let me zoom out, let me save this, and now I'll be adding a code node here. I'll click this, I'll search for code, I'll select this, I'll select code in JavaScript, and now I'll just make it big. And now I've already made a code here. I'll just copy this code from here, I'll come here, I'll paste it here. Okay, so now this part is done. Now I'll click on execute step. Okay, let me click here, and yes, we can see we have got the data. Now I'll click on back to canvas. Okay, so now if you come to this workflow, we can see after code node we'll be putting all this information in our Google Sheet. So now we'll be adding a Google Sheet so that we can put all this information there. But here you can see we have already done the same thing before. Okay, so for this we'll just copy paste this from here to here. Okay, so I'll select this, Control C, Control V, and now I'll come here and I'll just add it here. Okay, I'll connect it here, and now I'll just open this. So this is what you will see. Our sheet is connected already. So the date, time, user ID, meal, you can see 2x, this is the meal. So now we'll be clicking execute step. So as soon as we click this, you can see another row that will get added here. Okay, so now come here, click on execute step, and yes, we can see this. We'll open our sheet, and yes, we can see we have got 2x, calories, protein, and type. This time it was text. Okay, so this part is done now. Now I'll come here, I'll click on back to canvas, and now I'll save this. We'll come to this workflow now. We can see after this Google Sheet node will again send a reply in Telegram. So for this we'll come here, so we'll just copy this one because this is the same thing, will be replying back to Telegram again. So I'll just come here, Control C, Control V, and now I'll be connecting this node. Okay, so this is done. I'll open this, and now we can see our account is connected. Resource message, operation will be send message, chat ID we have got it already. Now for the text, okay, for the text we'll just open this, we'll delete this, and now we'll have to find it from here. And now this is the message, and now we'll drag and drop it here. This is the text. Okay, so now I'll just close this, and now I'll come below. So reply markup will be none, and here parse mode will be marked down legacy. Okay, so now I'll click on execute step, and now we have got a reply here. We'll open our Telegram. So this is the reply that we have got: meal 2x, calories, nutrition score verdict, and how to make it better. Okay, so now this part is done. So if you come here, we have done this photo part, we have also done the text part. So now we'll be doing the summary part. Okay, so for this we can see, so we'll be adding a Google Sheet node here. Okay, so to fetch all this information that we have here. Okay, so for this we'll come here, we'll click on back to canvas. So now here we'll be adding a Google Sheet node here. So Google Sheet. Now this time it will be get rows in sheet. Okay, so why? Because we are getting this information from all these rows. Okay, so we'll come here, we'll select get rows in a sheet. So this one I've selected. Now from here we can select the document, we'll select this. Now we'll select the sheet. Now this part is done. Okay, so now I'll click on back to canvas, I'll click on save here, and now this time we'll open this. Now I'll click on execute step. This time I'll search for summary, click on enter, and now we have got this. I'll click on back to canvas and I'll click on save. Now this time it will come through this middle branch. Okay, so now I'll just execute this and we can see one item has flown through this node. Now we'll just zoom out and now we'll open this, and now this is what we have got here. And now we'll click on execute step. Okay, so I'll click on execute step. So we have got all this data here. So now if you come to this workflow here, so this part is done. Okay, so now we'll be making the calculation. So to make this calculation, we'll be adding a code node here. Okay, so we'll come here, I'll click on back to canvas, I'll add a code node here. I'll select this. Now select code in JavaScript, and now I'll be deleting all this code, and I've already made a code here with the help of ChatGPT. I'll just copy paste it from here. So this is the code. I'll just come here and I'll just copy this entire thing. I've just copied this, I'll just paste it here. Okay, so now I'll click on execute step, and yes, we can see we have got the data here. And now I'll click on back to canvas. So if you see this workflow, our calculation part is done. Now we'll be sending a reply back again. So to send a reply again, we'll be copying the same thing again. So just Control C, Control V. We've got this, and now we'll just connect this. We'll open this, and now we have to put our chat ID. This is a chat ID. I'll just drag and drop it here. And now we need the text message. So this is our message. We'll drag and drop it here. Okay, so this part is done. Now I'll click on execute step, and we have got a reply. We'll open this. We have got a reply here. Okay, we can see today's summary, 27th of November, meals logged is 2, because here you can see there are 2 meals. One is pav bhaji and the other one is 2 eggs. Okay, so we've got the same thing here, pav bhaji, 2 eggs, and the total protein intake, it is 22 grams, carbs 51 grams, and fat is 28 grams, and you are on track. So I still have an option to get 1460 kilocalories of meal extra. Okay, why? Because I've set my target to 2000 kilocalorie. Where did I set this? We'll come here. If you open this code, okay, so I'll make it big. So you'll see here, I'll just scroll up. This is where it is. So here we can see, so 2000 is what I have selected. So you can change it as per your requirement. Okay, so now I'll just close this. I'll click on back to canvas, and now our chatbot is ready. I'll click on save. Okay, now I'll make it active. I'll click on got it, and now let us check with different images this time. But before this, I'll just delete all this data from here. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, so now this is our Telegram. I'll send a fresh new message, but let me find some good images. Okay, so I'll close this. Okay, so now let me search for some good image. So let me select this one. Okay, so this looks like a thali, veg thali. Okay, so now I'll just take a screenshot. I've taken a screenshot. I'll come here, I'll just paste it here. I'll click on send. Now our workflow is active. Let us wait for some time to get a response. Yes, we can see Indian thali, 800 kilocalorie. Nutrition score, we can see the protein, carbs, fat, fiber. We can see the meal is balanced but calorie dense. Okay, so to make it better, consider reducing portion sizes for lower caloric intake. Okay, so this is what we have got. Now let us try one more picture. For this, let me search for a different picture here. So this looks good. Let me take a screenshot of this image. So I've taken a screenshot. I'll come to Telegram. I'll just paste it here. I'll click on send. And now let me wait for a response. And yes, we can see we have got a response. It says masala dosa with coconut chutney and sambar. Okay, so calories is 400 kilocalorie. We can see the nutrition score, we can see a verdict, we can also see how to make it better, add a side of vegetables for more nutrition. Okay, so now we have uploaded 2 images. So now let me check the Google Sheet. We have got the data in our Google Sheet as well. So we can see it's Indian thali masala dosa with coconut chutney and sambar. We can see the date, time, we can see the calorie, protein, carbs, fats and type. Okay, so now let us try a text message now. Okay, so let me type I had one samosa. Okay, I'll click on enter and we have got meal samosa, calories, verdict and how to make it better. We can see our Google Sheet. We can see we have got it samosa, we got the calories, protein, carbs and fat. Okay, so now let us get the summary for today. Okay, so / summary, we'll click on enter and now we have got this summary for today. The date is 27th of November. Meals logged is 3, total calories is 1335 kilocalorie. So if you come here, so now if you see the total, it is 1335. Okay, so this is what we have got, 1335 kilocalorie. Breakdown, we have got Indian thali at this time, masala dosa with coconut chutney at this time, and then samosa at this time. Okay, so now you are on track, room for 665 kilocalorie meal. Okay, because my target was 2000, so I can still have 665 kilocalories more. So yes, this is how you can build your own AI nutritionist coach. Okay, so now I have done it using Telegram. You can do it using WhatsApp as well. So if you need the step-by-step guide where I have mentioned all the prompts in details, including the code that I have used, okay, and plus if you need the JSON file for this workflow, you can click on the link below. Thank you so much for watching this video and please subscribe to my channel for more AI automation videos like this.